Okay, well, I'm going to keep it simple here. I put this in a Word document. I hope I can actually move it. Let's see. You see the Word document?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it.
Does it move? Does it move?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Now I'm thrilled to death. Well, our next challenge after this is going to be astrophotography or nighttime photography, whatever it was called. So what I did is I just put together a quick little cheat sheet for some folks that maybe haven't tried it before, or just want at least a couple of simple steps to go through. What I start off on the top here is always that you have heard from me ad nauseum, which is on a tripod, image stabilization off. You're going to have to do that with astrophotography because you're probably going to be taking shutter speeds of somewhere anywhere between 10 and maybe 20, 25 seconds. So you're going to need the tripod. On here that has the headlight and flashlight. You have to see the back of your camera. Some of us have where we can push a button and it lights up, but the headlamp, a lot of people try to use, particularly in a very dark situations, with the red light on it, because it doesn't change your eyes to go from dilated to constrict, and it just makes it easier for you to work around it. My cheapo method is usually taking a few pieces of toilet paper, flipping it over the head of the flashlight and just put a rubber band around it, and it does just fine for me. You can see how sophisticated I am. And one of the good things you have to think about is with particularly DSLRs, don't, as the exposure is happening, try not to have any of the light around your viewfinder, unless you have one of the little latches like I have that you can flip that closes the viewfinder, because light can get in and down into the camera during those long exposures. The likelihood is probably pretty slim, but it's just one little thing to pay attention to. Shooting modes, yeah, we're gonna go manual. We spent some time out at the barn and at the Farrington Village a couple times using this. So just realize that you're going to be controlling all three sides of the exposure triangle. For the aperture, best thing to do is bring your lens that you have the lowest f number. It'll allow the most light to come through. Shooting with the widest possible lens will be helpful too. There's going to be a little mat that we have down here that will explain it. But yeah, you want as much light to be able to come in through your lens, past your shutter, and onto your sensor as you can. Now with the shutter speed, this is the thing that we have to pay probably the most attention to, particularly if you don't want the stars moving around in your image. And there are a couple simple little math rules. They're not exactly perfect.
No.
But they're a good starting point. One is the 500 rule, and this is for full frame cameras. Now, what you'll do is, like what I do is I'll shoot at maybe 20 millimeters when I'm doing astrophotography. I'm probably shooting at f2.8. And what you do is you take that 500 and you divide it by the lens focal length. So in my little example here is 20 millimeter. That would mean that I can leave the shutter open for up to 25 seconds without having the star starting to streak a little bit and become somewhat unfocused. So I would need to keep my shutter speed somewhere 25 seconds or less. And then what you got to consider is if you're using a crop sensor camera, you may want to change that from a 500 down to 300. 300 divided by whatever focal length, and that will be your maximum shutter speed, again, it's only there to freeze the stars, so it just doesn't become a blur, it doesn't become a star trail, unless you want it to be. And then for micro four thirds, I don't think we have anybody out here with that. The number even gets down to be less. Yeah, I basically try to stick around to 20 seconds. And then we go down to the ISO. This is, again, something that you're going to want to play around while we're out there. Some cameras handle the sensor sensitivity, the ISO, better than others. So you're just going to have to play around, start somewhere. And then when you see your image, if it seems too dark and you have your aperture at the widest, you have your shutter at just about as long as you can possibly leave it open, then you're going to have to crank up the ISO a little bit just to get a little more light onto that sensor and onto your image. Focusing in the dark, this is something that we did those couple times out at Farrington, where for those with DSLRs, you can switch it to live view. And then what you can do is there's little plus and minus buttons on the back of your camera. So you can look at something, because you're going to want to be in manual focus as well, because autofocus is not going to focus on stars. So what you do is you hit that plus button to bring things closer and closer to you, and then you can move your focusing ring around. And when it gets to be kind of the smallest and the clearest, that's where you can stop. What's often better to do is to find something in the foreground that you can focus on easier, because to focus on a star, I used to have hair. Yeah, you can just pull your hair out trying to focus on a star. But often if you have something in the foreground, I've always found that to be probably the best. If your foreground is out maybe 50, 60 feet, you focus on it, everything out there is going to be in focus. So, but again, it's a lot of trial and error. This is not something that I've spent a lot of time on, but I've gotten a few good ones. So just kind of go through the steps, give it a try. I know Chuck's done some recently that's come out pretty good too. So Chuck, if you have any hints,
yeah, I think you got it all covered really well. And I guess my biggest challenge is focus. And I've tried various things, and sometimes one works better than another depending on where you're at. But if there's a moon, which is not ideal for shooting stars, if there's a moon, you can sometimes use autofocus on the moon. Or if there's a distant street light or a house light, sometimes you can use that. You can also, in the day, focus on something, that's infinity, and then note that spot on your lens, where and usually it's something other than the infinity mark on your lens. It's something away from infinity. I don't know why. I guess there's a technical reason, but anyway, that's the only input that I have about focus.
And the thing is with the focusing too, if you're using the widest angle lens that you have, a wide angle lens will naturally bring you greater depth of field. More will be in focus. So, and what it does by that, having the widest angle lens, it gives you more seconds before you go into a star trail. Like with that 500 rule above, say if some reason you wanted to take a picture of some stars using a 100mm lens. Well, what that means now is that you can only keep the shutter speed open for 5 seconds. And you're only going to get a little bit of your scene. But stick with the wide angle lens and open it up as wide as you can. And then you start from there.
Well, this is something I've never tried and I would like to try. So anyway. Thanks, Bill.
I'll be doing it out at the beach.
Yeah. Well, lucky you.
Tough life.
Lucky you.
Tough life out in Duck.
We ready to go to photos?
Yeah.
All right. Whoops. We didn't get a lot of photos this time around. I think it was a product of having a lot of things on our own agenda. But this first one is Helen's. And let me get rid of this. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Helen?
Okay. I went to Maplewood Cemetery in Durham, something that I've ridden by a million times. I lived in Durham for 30 years and had never been in there. I have a tendency to avoid cemeteries. But I decided one day in the middle of the day to go over there and see what I could find. And I was intrigued by what I did find. Lots of different things. There weren't many statues, but just I don't know, the artillery, of course the Hebrew cemetery walled in the Confederate cemetery, broken grave stones. There's been a lot of damage to all of the statues.
Helen,
Yeah.
the two shots that you have exposed to me, I don't know that I've ever seen anything like it in a cemetery. I've never seen anything like this, and I certainly have not seen anything like the next one of yours.
Yeah.
Now-
The symbolism in the ones that I found, I don't understand. This person is holding an anchor. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought she looked like a masthead.
On a ship.
Yeah, that's to me. That's what it.
Mhm.
When I first saw it right away, it's like, yeah, it's like a ship. Decoration.
Yeah.
I need to go back over there. I need to go back over there when I'm not in a hurry and try to figure out who these people were. Maplewood, apparently Durham opened it in the 1870s, I think. So neither Durham nor the cemetery are that old. But anyway, this was shot 80 millimeters, f 5.6. 1/640th ISO 100. And I did very little. Her face and the arm that she has up on her chest were very dark with lichen or whatever, moss. So I did lighten that a little bit and try to bring out some of the features there, but I didn't do anything else to it. I think I did have some of that, what do you call it? The lens distortion where in the corners, it's a little darker.
Right.
I cleaned that up. But she is intriguing.
Yeah. There's
What I like about it too is that whatever that coloration is on the statue, the red, they got that nice contrast with the blue around it.
Yeah, there's green, there's all sorts of growth on all of these. These are all old. They're 150 years old.
Yeah, this really is a good photo. I mean, the composition is right, the exposure is right. There is and I should have looked it up before now, but there is at least one web page that is all about cemeteries, and the And it's meant for ancestry.com type reasons but this is a good shot, Helen. I mean, really good. And this next one, I cannot get this one out of my brain.
Mhm.
This
Wow.
this is was a horrible picture. And I was shooting into shade, but there was too much, it was a mess, but I just brought it because it's so awful. I'm so stunned by it. The heart, I admit, there was a little spot of light and I made it a little heart-like, and then the background, by that time I wasn't thinking about depth of field. I was just so stunned by this thing that I took a shot. So in elements, I played with reducing the blurring the background, and it didn't do a great job. But I just put this one out here to see if anybody can imagine what in the world this is. Is this a religious thing? Is this a dead baby? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite like it.
That
I'm not
the
sure.
light
Wow.
on the heart. I mean, geez.
It was, like I say, it was there, and I took a few pixels out to make it look more hearty, but I shot that 44 millimeter f10 1/15 of a second, which is weird because it was very dark there, but light through the trees, and ISO 100. But that thing is stunning, and I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah. Does make you think, but
It's a terrible picture, but the subject matter on all of this that I found was, it left me kind of changed for the day.
yeah.
Well, and Helen, don't downplay it. It's not a horrible picture. It's a poignant.
Oh, no, not at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the original was sharp, and like I said, I played with elements, and it blurred it, but I could play with it more, but I don't know if I want to look at it again.
I think the only thing you might do to it is crop it a bit more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I said at the beginning, I can't get this photo out of my brain. But well done, extremely well done.
Very good.
Next up is Chuck.
Hmm.
Wow.
This is from, looks like it was November of 2018 when I shot this. And it's, I'm going to go see it, this spot again this week. It's in Brevard, and it's, there's the campground, Davidson River Campground has a trail that goes through it, and it's called, I think, the North Ridge Trail. I don't think it's North Slope. I forget if it's Ridge or Slope, but anyway, it's a north-facing small mountain, and you take a trail up along it, and then there's like a little side trail that goes up to this family, just this little family graveyard. And I looked it up one time and I did some reading, but I'm not sure of the story. I just wonder about the date. It's 1916, and it's the same date, I think, for a couple of the graves here, and like even there's some children's graves. I think maybe it was the influenza epidemic
Right.
that took these lives, possibly. But it's obviously there was somebody's homestead. Sorry about my dog there. I would mute myself, but then you can't hear me. So anyway, hey.
And
So
Chuck,
it's just an interesting spot, and it's a short little hike from the campground, and usually I take my buddy Fozzie with me, and we go up there and look around, and so I mess with this a little bit in terms of the the lighting and the colors, but not a tremendous amount. But I shot it at a 24 or excuse me 27 millimeter, and that's that's based on a full frame on my crop sensor. So, and I had to set an ISO of 1000 and f4 at a 60th of a second.
The thing that what you've just said, Chuck, that reminds me of how many times just driving down 2-lane highways, or roadways, from here to there, how many of these kind of private cemeteries there are around.
There's a bunch in North Carolina.
Yeah,
Right.
there's
In
a
fact,
place-
there's one that on one of my bike rides that I just encountered again for the first time in some years. It's on Gum Springs Road, Hanks Chapel, Gum Springs. It goes between Pittsboro and then it goes down to Pittsboro Moncure. And I don't know, about halfway through there's a cool little family campground, or graveyard, and it's well taken care of. But the sad thing is that now immediately behind it, someone's built a really large house, and it just doesn't seem right. But I mean, that's just how it is,
Yeah,
that
there's
land was
one-
sold, and
there's one that I remember along Highway 50, going up toward Creedmoor, and in the backyard of a mobile home is a pretty large cemetery. I just can't imagine. And I'm remiss for not having found the cemetery website that I mentioned, but all of the photos that are up for today, I'll have Helen send a link. These belong to be added to the website. There are people around. There are people around who want to know who Martha Harrison was.
Mhm.
Thanks, Chuck. Next up is Larry.
Oh, you don't have my second one, or is that coming later?
I'm sorry. That
Okay.
is this.
Yeah.
Is it up?
Now, who is this?
This is St. Bartholomew's right in town here. I just took it Saturday night, and it was late blue hour. It was almost dark, and I took several images there. It was an interesting scene because I could hear the live music coming from City Tap, and it wasn't a very good band, but it lightened up the atmosphere a little bit anyway. And so it's just a beautiful, site. I think that graveyard just has just a lot of character, and I like this. I chose this one because I kind of liked having the church in the background. And I thought that light in the for this coming from a street light in the back was sort of interesting, and
the guard dog den by the,
yeah,
That's right.
a little bear or dog or something. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So this was an ISO of 800, 48 millimeter focal length, and I shot it at an f4.5 for 2 seconds, and I did lighten the exposure in post quite a bit. About a factor of 1, I guess.
Mhm. So would you say it was 2 seconds?
2 seconds, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I was using a tripod, of course, and and I hadn't shot at night in a while, and what we were just talking about, and I hadn't shot at night for a while. So when I was trying to focus, I was forgetting, okay, now which button is it so I can use the live view for one thing, and then zoom in on it. And that I did okay, I was trying not to turn my light on too much. And
Yeah.
then when I did decide I needed my light, I couldn't find exactly the level. You know, I didn't have my head. So I was like, boy, it's like, it kind of showed me you get out of practice quick. You lose those chops very quickly.
I I didn't see it at first, Chuck, but the bear right in front of the brick.
Yeah, I didn't see it when I
Oh,
was shooting
yeah,
either.
I
Yeah.
want to know the story of that. I wonder who.
I'll go back and see if I can see any significance for it being there and marking or something. But anyway.
Yeah.
Good
And at
shot.
first I thought I had a telephone pole in there. That tree is so straight.
It
And I
is.
thought, oh, that's a shame, but it's a tree. So I left it,
Yeah.
of course.
Good shots, Chuck. And
Great.
now it
Oh,
is
thanks.
Larry. Come on. I didn't want to do
Please tell us you
This
found
is-
the picture you were looking for.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Great.
this is
So
classic Larry.
the this is from Oakwood, and this is the cemetery of the interned CSA soldiers,
Okay.
and they gathered them not in any particular order, except that they were all CSA, and it's a part of the cemetery that is not too far from the administration office, and it's easy to reach. So I took a number of pictures. This one was from 3 years ago, and I took a number of pictures. But I like this because of it really indicates size, and the last row against the trees is really the end of the this particular grouping, and it was just, to me, it says a lot. I don't know.
It does.
And Larry, this is a perfect one for black and white. Perfect.
Mhm. Makes
Yeah, I
it.
agree. I really like that.
And
So Larry, this is the Oakwood out in Raleigh?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, we tried to get out there, but the weather didn't work in our favor.
yeah. I have a few with. I took a few that have on their on the stone itself. It
Mm.
says unknown, which I thought was
Yeah.
really big. That was really kind of breaks your heart a little bit, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
someone-
Well, everything about this is good, Larry. In my mind.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
just try to do a 16:9 crop low enough that the sky is out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
With the
you were
so-
moving around before, one really, yeah. Yeah, before when you were moving around, something
Yeah.
really told me that there's an impact by keeping that brightness out at the top there and really focusing inside.
I don't know what the ratio is, but
Yeah, that's
that probably comes close to what you were
Mhm.
asking for. It's a great photo.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I think it ought to be any. That may be it right there.
Yeah.
You can see it. I zoomed in on the headstones, and it was not sharp, but that's not Larry's fault. I think that it was weather worn.
Mm.
I can't really explain why this is having the effect on me that it's having, but incredible. Just really incredible. And this next one is Larry's as well.
Oh,
Nice.
oh,
And
lovely.
this
Yeah.
is a tricky shot. I mean, think about it. You're looking from a space that is dark out into a space that is brightly lit. And this gets it all.
Yeah, I
Okay.
tried, this wasn't the original. I just tried to keep darkening the photograph. And so what happened, not by any skill, but by kind of luck, the outside actually got brighter.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange. And so this is the same cemetery. And this is the bottom of the hill from the Confederate headstones. And they, inside this tomb, and if you go there, it's very worthwhile because inside this tomb, they have all kinds of plaques on the walls inside this open area. You can go walk in, there's no door. And, you know, the benches, for example, in front of the window are actually marked with various soldiers' names and etc. And the ones on the outside, that's the edge of the cemetery, and then that wall that's right there is also part of it.
And
So
what
there's
is
some.
You know, you say it was, I don't know what your exact words were, whether it was lucky, but there are things in this that are spot on, and the exposure is great. And if you look at the margins for the whatever it was that you're looking through, absolutely vertical.
What is that below the window?
I'm sorry?
What is that below the window? What is that necessary to the picture?
Well, I was trying to determine that as well. I just thought it showed where it ended, but it's just a bench, and it's engraved with a soldier's name and company.
Oh, you know, I'm seeing 3 little dots under here, and I thought it was part of your picture, and it's just on my phone. So pardon me. Now I see. Gotcha. I turned my phone around. Now they're gone.
Yeah, yeah. So I think you could see it says 1861. I mean, if you focus in on it,
It looks like 1861 to.
Where, Larry? On the bottom or the top?
Yeah,
the bench
Ah,
on the side. On the
yeah,
side
on
of
the bench. You go zoom out. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
1861, 1865, a major. Oh yeah, of course it would have to be a major. The family would probably like that. Sharpshooters, North Carolina Battalion.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Major R.E. Wilson.
Well,
I mean, it's this.
I cannot get past the emotion that some of these photos generate.
Yeah.
I know I'm still emotional about every picture I took.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a piece of artillery in the little Confederate grave that, okay, maybe I'm not emotional about that, but every grave, the broken gravestones, I would suggest that if any of you in Durham, you run by Maple Wood. I felt very safe in the older section. There were people walking dogs and a guy riding a bicycle and construction nearby. So, but yeah, the emotion of some of these things just, I don't know. I could have had you put up 20 of the shots that I took, and it wasn't because they were good shots. It was just that they were brought up on emotion.
There's something about a reverence of a cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, I tend to, whenever I go to one, I tend to feel very reverent and not very loud and not very, you know, it would be impossible to go in there and taking photographs or not and feel emotion, I would think.
Yeah.
And Timothy, I think that's what's hitting me. I mean, I saw these photos when you uploaded them to me, but geez, this is just really something. Thank you, Larry.
Sure.
Great job, Larry.
Next is Bill.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, what I did, a little bit like to Timothy's point, was to try to get a feeling of being there. And what I did probably for the first half hour, I just walked the grounds. You know, I wasn't just looking for an image, I was just trying to take it all in, because it's not someplace we just go to visit very often. So what I did is I kind of tried to get a feeling of sitting on this bench, just looking over the entire part of the cemetery there. And those 3 headstones in the front actually have all the same names on them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I tried to just allow I focused on the bench, and then I let everything else start going out of focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poe. Not Edgar Allan, but
No, no relation.
Where were you?
this
Yeah,
was
where was this, Bill?
St. Bart's, right where Chuck was.
Okay.
And I kind of wish that I had one of my other lenses, so I could have been even down to, like, this was f4 at 27 millimeters, probably 1/500th of a second, 64 ISO, where I would have liked to have been able to actually go further down and blur out the background even a little more. So it would have given a sense that, something was sitting there just solemn and looking over the rest of the cemetery.
Right. You can vision yourself sitting on that bench, just looking out over the whole scene there.
What I really should have done is backed up a bit and used the telephoto, the longer end of the lens, and I could have gotten the background to probably burn off a little more too.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill, I think the way that I think the depth of field is appropriate. I mean, you can really imagine being on that bench and looking over a loved one.
That bench is a friend was recently interned in that cemetery. Not a super close friend, but a friend, and her husband, after the service, it was a nice service, quite a few people there, was just trying to deal with the grief and everything, and he sat down on that bench. And so it just really reminds me of that day. And also he sat down because it turned out he was coming down with COVID too. But anyway, that little bear is just to the right of those 3 tombstones. So Bill was like, we were very, very similar place.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Perspective, yeah.
Just a minute.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Off to the right of the 3rd Poe to the right.
That's not it.
Oh, yeah.
There is the bear right there.
There's the bear.
Yep.
That's
Actually, walking around
One
that.
thing that I'm going to do is put the ones that I didn't submit on Flickr, because
yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna put a lot of them. There's no problem with that, Mike, legally, is there?
No.
If you can see, I don't think,
No,
I don't think in any case.
And I'll confess that Helen submitted 5 and I had to pick 2. But yeah, there were other photos that Helen took that deserve. I want to digress on this based on what Helen said. If you're on Flickr, please, please, please find groups to post your photos on. I've made so many acquaintances, and some people that almost, I've never met them, but they feel like friends. Please post stuff on Flickr. You'll be surprised. But not to distract from Bill's photo, but anyway, it's a good shot, Bill. And this is the other
Well,
one.
Nice, nice, Bill.
actually walking around that cemetery was interesting. I mean, I actually took it all in. I read the headstones. I saw families, and there's some areas that have little crypts in it and little sunken areas. I mean, it was just, it just kind of takes you someplace else for a while. And then I
Mhm.
fell across this one that was of a baby that lived for 10 days. So, I mean, it was just,
All right.
yeah, it really does grab you. This one is just kind of a fun shot because Turner here is just kind of saying, come on, sit down, let's talk for a while. Because it's actually a park bench. It's not really, what you see as a headstone or so. But
No, that's it.
This is another example of the pictures that belong on the cemetery.com and whatever it is that I'll send it to Helen to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And this was at the same cemetery, Bill?
oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
so much opportunity there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
really is.
yeah.
This was just a fun one.
All
Great.
right. The next is Bill. No, not Bill. Bob. Are you with us, Bob?
I am, but there we go. Okay.
Wake up, Bob.
This one, no, I was waiting for Bill's picture it was half Bill's picture and half mine on the screen. So I was waiting. Anyway, this was a cemetery at Damascus Church Road, which is right off of Jones Ferry. And I like the picture because and it's a very, cemeteries are pretty serious places, and I like the blooming flowers,
Right.
tree, and that kind of lightened it up a little bit for me. But I used a tripod, shot in RAW, 8 seconds, shutter F8, and ISO 1/8 second shutter, and ISO of 100. I did mess with the exposure and shadows, but that was the only picture I took. I had a hard time. I went to UNC, and they've got a couple different cemeteries, but they were so grown up. I just and not cared for. It really surprised me.
Yeah.
I was actually thought there. Somebody told me that Charles Kuralt was buried there.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought, well, boy, that would be really cool to get, a shot of that. But it's just so big and and really grown up. So anyway, I found this one, and I just like this one over UNC.
You know what jumps out at me at this one, Bob, is that the tree is like protecting the graves, like putting,
Yeah.
like standing over and watching them,
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure the tree's been there quite a while.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure.
Bob, I mean, this really is a nice photo. And if you lightened it any, I would back off on that. I think there's more intensity in this photo than is revealed. I think dialing back some of the exposure would have really. Well, it's a
Okay.
great photo, but it might have made it even greater.
It's a very peaceful photo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So Mike, you would have made it darker?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I would have.
Okay.
I think I would have reduced the saturation some. And this doesn't give the detail on the graves, but if you, let me see if I can do this and whether you can see it. Oh, that's
So many of those graves are for Macaulay's, going back to about 1820. My great-grandmother was a Macaulay, and my great-grandmother, I think, is buried there.
Oh, okay.
And as well as a ton of other Macaulays that are kin to me, but you can't see the information on the graves, the older ones, it's worn off.
yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
tons and tons of the pictures trying to read and see if I can find my grandmother. I found my grandfather, great-grandfather, but I can't. No,
Could
he's
some
not
of
there,
these,
but
could
it's
some
his-
of these be written on the other side? In
yeah.
other words, could this be taken from the back of the headstones?
Yeah. Yes.
And maybe that.
Oh, no.
That, you know, I agree with what Liz said, but I don't know how that would compose in terms of where the tree is. And I think that tree is a big part of it.
Yeah, it's an old holly tree.
And the flowers too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
no, that's
This needs to go on
good
the
one, Bob.
highlight reel, Bob.
Good.
It really
Good.
does. And Frank,
Was this mine coming up?
yep.
Waiting for Bob to get out of the way.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
this, wow.
The day after the party, Helen and I were going to try to go out to the cemetery in Raleigh that Larry went to, but finally this past Sunday, I just went over to one of them in Chapel Hill. This was the Chapel Hill Cemetery. And again, like everybody else has expressed, just walking around. I mean, I spent the first half hour just walking around and absorbing everything out there. And then I came across this grave, and the person's name is on the front, but what struck me was on the back, they had written Mama. And it just like made it, to me, so sad, you know? And I like the flowers that were on the front, the kind of a little bit of a contrast. But like I said, I just found it so melancholy seeing that on there.
wow.
Melancholy is a good word.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
there were a lot of them out there. As a matter of fact, out there, I found from the village here, Fitch's, I think it was his grandfather. Is out there. There were quite a few other ones, but I don't know, this one just struck me. So I did crop down on it, and on that one, it was taken a 53 millimeter, 1/4 of a second, with the tripod, obviously, f/18 and an ISO of 100.
Well, I'm not sure how to express this, but the fact that it is a little bit off center
Mm-hmm.
seems to make the picture for me. The picture.
Yeah.
Right in the middle, I don't know. I guess the point is the composition is terrific.
Yeah. Also, too, around, I did kind of get it in that position because there were things around it that I didn't want in it.
Yes.
You know, like to the right, if I went out where I originally did, there were parking meters, and I just didn't want those in the shot at all.
Oh, that was lovely.
Yeah, it's sad. That's
The parking meters might have represented our time is limited.
yeah, this one was not far from that other one. Again, it was at the same cemetery over in Chapel Hill. But I like this, I guess you call it a monument. And in the center there, it looked like an urn. And I don't know if the person's ashes are inside that urn or what, but I just like that because it got that see-through effect to the rest of the only thing I should have taken them out. There were those traffic lights down there on the side. I wish I had gotten those out of there, but I just Yeah, had just a feeling with this one, with the nice scrolling along the top, the person's name. And then, yeah, if you zoom back out, you don't, the lights kind of disappear. But it just shows you the other graves that are beyond this one.
Yeah, I love the composition.
I think there was a football coach named Tatum.
Yeah, I should have, I got back, should have done some research on the names and just see if I get some more information on them.
I think it's a coach.
Okay.
Well, the other clue is right there, Egan. That might be the Egan Tatum might resolve some of the issues.
Great pictures.
Yeah, I like that composition.
Yeah, and on that one too, that was taken last Sunday, 2 days ago. It was a 33 millimeter, 1/6 of a second with tripod and F18 ISO 100.
And Frank, this is just an idea, not a. But I wonder what that picture would be like if
Black and white.
Yeah.
Well, that and cropping it a little closer.
Okay.
So that there was nothing on the left or the right or the top that didn't include the monument
Just, yeah,
itself.
okay. Yeah, I'll fool around with it later.
I did something I'm not sure I can get out of it. Come on. Please don't let me down. But great shots, Frank. Lynn,
Yeah,
Thanks.
if I can make it
really
happen.
good.
Wait just a minute. I've been trying to crop it. I think I messed up. Oh, there we go. Maybe. Oh, shoot. Let me back out of this and try to get back where I wanted to be.
Are you having trouble getting out of there?
No, I don't understand what's happening. Let me
While
just.
you're doing that, just still, I want to advocate for putting other pictures that you didn't select on Flickr so we can look at them. There's just.
All right, this I got back to where
Words.
I needed to be. This is Lynn's.
That's beautiful.
So I am in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And this cemetery is enormous, and it's less than a mile from where my son's house. I was there in the middle of the day, which is not ideal.
Right.
Of course, I had no tripod, but there were very few large monuments, this being one of them. Oh, I can tell you what I shot it out. That would be good. So it was 1600 ISO, 41 millimeters, f7.1, 1/4,000th of a second, which I guess had to do with the brightness. I'm tempted to go back. I could go back. I mean, it's not far from here. I could go take more pictures at a better time of day.
That's nice.
Lynn, the
Good
only
pick.
thing I can say is that maybe the crop was off. And this is just me, but can you see that?
I can. Okay, that might be a stronger picture. Well, I have to tell you, I don't have my laptop with me.
Mm.
And my camera, my Sony, has the ability to take pictures from my camera to my phone. I was so excited, I figured out how to do it. It didn't really matter what the pictures looked like. No, it did a bit, but so then I got them on my phone. So I only had my phone to process them with. So it was a bit limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes
Well, and
Use some
What
stick.
did you say about the cropping? I didn't get that. You would change it?
can,
So you're talking about getting rid of most of the sky.
well, and it's
I like-
focusing in on the edge. I can't. It's not working for me in terms of.
well, one thing when you get back, Lynn, what you might try, because you have Photoshop, and there's a function there called haze reduction.
Mhm.
And it really does. I mean, I almost use it religiously. It just brings a little more contrast and it'll bring out a little more of that blue sky. You know,
It's
just
not it's not an option on your phone. So,
right. But when you get back, yeah, that'd be I can see where that would really kind of bring this more to life too.
yeah, I see what you're doing, Mike, just to make that cross the focus of it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then you mentioned the high ISO, like 4000, and I think it was a high shutter speed. So those two were trying to cancel each other out. If you had a lower ISO, the shutter speed would have been less. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, daytime you should probably be at your lowest, which I think on lens is what, 50?
I think so on my camera.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
I've cropped it, and I don't know that you can see it, but there is a
I
really
can.
powerful photo there with that.
I'll put them on my
Right.
computer when I get home and.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good suggestion. Thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen a cemetery any like you all have posted. This is
So
also
I
linked.
confess, I took this with my phone. I had driven around, it's a big place, and I had driven around a number of times, and I determined that this was probably the oldest section of the cemetery by looking at the gravestones, because some were falling down and they were thin, they weren't thick, substantial looking things. So I'll tell you what it was shot at. It's the goofy numbers because it's my phone, but it was 100 ISO, 24 millimeter, f 1.78, and then this is funny, 3,356 of a second.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, so that's it.
That's nice.
It's
Yeah,
powerful.
even without trying to change the crop.
You want to change the crop on this one too?
I like the crop on this one.
Yeah, I
like
like it. I like that grouping of stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Also,
the
it's
key is-
amazing how much further, of course, we are here. It's early spring still there from the foliage. Huh?
Yes, it is. The daffodils are blooming and
Mhm.
the trees, some of them are just beginning to leaf out and.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
this is not about the crop that would help it. I can't imagine one that would. This is a landscape as much as it is a cemetery.
Right.
I'm just, Lynn, I'm curious, down on the lower right, there's that little round thing. Do you know what that looked like? A mushroom that fell over, but I don't.
They could be lights. I'm not.
Yeah, I wonder if they had lights out there for at night.
It might be.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get rid of those.
I'm trying to get back to the original. I think the green and the color of the trees and the sky is what really makes this, which I don't know what I've
Yeah.
done.
The early spring, that fragile green against the sky.
Yeah. It was a beautiful day here.
That picture, you could have taken it in the dead of summer and it probably, to me, wouldn't have been as evocative.
Right. Yeah, the different tones of green and almost yellow in those trees background is nice. Anyway,
I was
thank you.
trying to get out, and I can't get back to the selection part of the of Zoom. I think I would have cropped it. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of them
Oh
that I
no,
sent
that's not it.
you,
Wait. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have put the. Well, it's a terrific photograph as it is shown, but I think I would have cropped a little bit off the left. Maybe to include that.
okay. I took some closer up pictures of those old gravestones.
Well,
That's okay.
A great pick. I really like it.
I do too.
yeah.
I think, you know, I like the fact you've got all that nice color around it in the sky. It's like, there's like brightness or whatever, around sadness because of the gravestones.
Could
I
make a
don't
great
know if you
postcard.
can see what I'm seeing on my screen.
Yeah.
It's so little on my phone. I'm having a hard time. Oh, well.
I saved one of mine to the end, just out of the consideration of whether there would be more time.
Ooh,
That's cool.
yeah. Where is this?
There are two pictures in my life that I have a sentimental approaching it. Anyway, two of them were taken from this place. It's San Jose, Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
You mean San Juan?
San Juan, yes, thank you. There's another picture of mine that is of, it's not going to show on this, but it is right there. Can you see that? Can you see
You're
that?
zooming in on the same one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's old San Juan, isn't it? That's the fort. In
Yeah.
Old San Juan. Isn't
Fort
it?
Moro,
Yeah.
Morro, and one of the picture I actually poured. The picture that was the first one I ever saw was of that spawn spot right there.
Mm.
And this is 1500s cemetery. Anyway.
The clarity in that is just incredible.
Was beautiful.
That was taken with an old phone, though, with a um, a D300 mini anyway. But anyway, this has been, for me, for a variety of reasons, it's been an emotional program to me.
Yeah.
Larry, thanks for saying or suggesting the idea that we go to cemeteries.
Yes.
It was perfect. It was perfect. So anyway, anybody else have any comments they want to make?
This is Larry. I'd like to make a comment. So I know some of you have Facebook. I wanted to send a picture that I thought was very poignant of the cemetery in Oakwood, and I'm going to put it on our Facebook page if that's okay.
Put it on Flickr too, because I don't do Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have a Flickr account, but
It's
Okay.
free.
Larry, I've been proselytizing Flickr. It costs nothing,
yeah,
and you can
I know.
post up to, I think, 1,000 pictures now. And
That's
that picture,
yeah, that's not
the picture I posted of the under the abstract photo challenge, it has comments from people that are all of the world, and the things that you all are doing deserve that kind of exposure. Join Flickr. It costs you nothing. Post your photos to there, and I think you will be surprised at how many people that you do not know will become friends.
Hmm.
Please do it.
I'm gonna have to get your advice when we get together because I apparently opened a Flickr account quite a long time ago, and it's tied to your email address. And I of course I don't remember the password, and it won't let me get in. It says you're already a member, and
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, let me let you and anybody else in the group. I'll look for your profile on Flickr and quote unquote favor you. And if that doesn't hook you up with me and others, then let me know. But
And Larry, when you're in there, if you're trying to sign up and you're using the same ID, it'll tell you that. You just got, I've done this a million times too, where instead of hitting a login, I hit a sign up and it tells me like you're already here.
Yeah.
Just may want to pay a little attention to that, because I think they're right next to each other on Flickr too. So you
Yeah.
can easily press the wrong one.
well,
I just can't remember my password. That's
yeah.
It'll let you reset it.
Well, and I've said before, I have met people all over the world through Flickr. And anyway, there was something I was thinking about during the meeting that I want to say again. The the gathering we had at Lynn's we need to do more of that.
Mhm. Agree.
It was, and I know that people were not able to come because of conflicts. But that was a really special day. And when,
We'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
when
Maybe
some-
what we can do too, Vicky and I were talking about this where maybe when we know that's going to be good weather, and like with in Farrington here, Mondays and Tuesdays, everything's closed. So just all of a sudden have a pop-up, meet you at the Roost, bring your own bottle of wine or a bottle of beer or whatever you want, and just come down for an hour or so with no
Yeah.
agenda, no nothing. You don't have to come. You can come another time. Yeah, just something very, very casual.
Yeah,
yeah,
That'd be good too.
and
a good idea.
I'm not the only one in this group that has a trailer. And I've wondered about dragging the trailer to Jordan or some other place and having an afternoon like that for anybody that wants to come. The Artists Guild yesterday had a meeting at one of the shelters on Seaforth, and that just, for me, drove in the idea that I'll get a reservation on Jordan someplace, some weekend, and
Mhm.
maybe getting together out there for what Lynn was generous enough to host before. I'm sorry if you didn't, you weren't able to come, and I get that life happens, but that was really a good joint experience, and I hope we can do it again.
Yeah. My only regret is I didn't take my phone and get some pictures of it.
I don't think anybody took pictures.
Yeah,
It was
no,
a camera club.
busy talking with everybody, and it's just tough to find the time to do it.
And
Yeah.
I regret that I didn't get to meet Mrs. Frank.
What's
the
that?
I regret that I didn't get to meet
Yeah.
Mrs. Frank.
yeah,
I've met her, but a
um,
long time ago.
um,
So we will have to do it again with spouses.
Yeah, definitely.
and if you know,
I like the Jordan
got
Lake
my
idea.
email about it. I think you did, but I promise there will be no more plastic prong safety device
Oh,
in any of the port
no,
cases
don't.
you pulled out.
It's probably
Hey,
in my
guys.
freezer. Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Be
Good
well.
meeting. Thank you.
Bye.
Won't see you at the next meeting.
See you
So
on May
Bill,
1st.
before we get off, you're gonna leave on Sunday?
Yeah,
So when do you want me to come over and get them?
or I can drop them off. Are you gonna be home this afternoon?
Yeah, I've got to run over to Duke, and then I'll be back, and I'll be leaving probably around 5 o'clock to go somewhere else, so.
With your schedule, maybe I should let you come here.
Okay, yeah, why don't I do that?
Well, if anybody
Bye.
needs help with getting,
I'll email you when it's a good time to come over. All right, all right, take care, everybody.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Well, if anybody needs help with getting photos to the church on May 1st, let me know or let Lynn know, and we'll make it happen. And there's one short story I want to trace. I took Lynn's photograph and a couple of mine to
Oh my.
stop, Linda. Anyway, I took her photo and mine to the senior center in Siler. And I took her photo in first and then went back out to the car to get my two, one film, one digital. And this woman at the desk said to me, I love that photo. I want that on my wall. And then she said, but I like yours too.
You shouldn't have told that.
No, I shouldn't have. But I'm glad that whoever entered did enter. Very good meeting. Thank you all.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you.
everybody.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
See you in a month.
Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.